Welcome back to another episode. Today we are going to take a look at 3 stocks that you should add to your watch list. The first one is going to be a company in the EV market. The second one is going to be a semiconductor company that's growing at crazy levels. And the third one is going to be a company that's focusing on making batteries for electric vehicles. And they're not only focusing like your consumer cars, they're also focusing in electric forklifts and electric buses and all different types of vehicles. If this is your first time here, my name's Jose Najarro, and I am a self-taught investor who's been doing this for the past 6-7 years. And if you want to learn more about becoming a better investor, make sure to check out my Patreon. Also, don't forget to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. It helps so much with the YouTube algorithm, and I truly appreciate it. If you want to know every time I buy and sell a stock, make sure to find the link down below for my Discord channel. It's free to anybody that wants to join, and we have a lot of great members there. You should also see a link to all my other social platforms. Finally, if you want to get a free stock, use my link below and deposit $100 on Weeple. If you do that, we both get a free stock. I think right now they're doing a special. We might get 1 or 2 free stocks. So let's get started. Like I mentioned, today's episode, we are taking a look at 3 stocks, and these are highlights from my recent live stream at Twitch. I stream every Mondays and Tuesdays at 8:30 Eastern time. So if you guys want to come and ask questions here, I take a look at companies you want me to look at. So normally I find a lot of new companies, and these are probably 3 companies that many of you have not heard of. So if you have any companies you guys ever want me to take a look at, make sure to follow me on Twitch. That should be Jose Najarro Stocks. And I should see you there tonight, Tuesday at 8:30. And we actually looked at about 7 stocks. Today, I'm only posting 3 of those stocks. If you guys want to see the others, let me know in the comments below, and I will do another video with those highlights. So let's take a look at, this time for real, let's take a look at Li Auto. So with Li Auto, so this is ticker LI. I want to take a look at year to date. This is a brand new IPO, right? So year to date, it has done 100%. They have a market cap of about $29 billion. So they have strong revenue growth. They're growing their revenue at 72.3% on average for the next 3 to 5 years. This is something I consider a hyper growth stock. They're also expected to grow their earnings dramatically, but analysts don't expect them to be profitable until 2023. How right are analysts? That's something you have to take with a grain of salt. But at least they are expected to be profitable within the next 3 years. That's something I like to look at. But what's more important is that cash flow from operations. For those that don't know, cash flow from operations is the money you make from your everyday business. From that, Li Auto is actually profitable right now. So they already make money from their everyday business. Next, what I want to take a look at is their financial health. How are they looking? Because they are not profitable, I want to make sure that they have a lot of cash and they have a little bit of debt. And we can see right now they have about 18.6 billion Chinese yuans in cash, and they only have about $500 million in debt. So they have a lot more cash, about 40 times, maybe not 40 times, maybe 38 times more cash than they do debt. And that's pretty impressive, right? So right now they have strong future growth. They have strong financial growth. They're also profitable and they're also positive in cash flow from operations. Now I want to take a quick look at their ownership. So ownership, we can see their CEO actually owns 20% of the business. I love seeing companies that the big guy, that the CEO and the owns a huge portion. So they own 20% of the business. So overall, Wessler, fundamentally the company looks good. Now let's take a look at the stock price. And here I'm in Seeking Alpha. So look, Li Auto right now has a price to sales ratio of 10, a forward price to sales ratio of 10. I want to take a look at let's take a look at some of its competitors. Can some people name some of their competitors? I know NIO would probably be one. We can say probably Tesla might be another one. Those are the only 2 EV stocks I really know right now. But let's see, Li has a forward price to sales ratio of 10.03. Tesla has a forward price to sales ratio of 15.44. And then we have NIO has a forward price to sales ratio of 17.88. So right now it does seem like Li is probably the cheapest out of the other 2. But remember, Tesla is profitable, so we have to account for that. But Li is still a little bit cheaper in regards to Tesla, in regards to NIO, when we take a look at price to sales ratio. But remember, we do have Tesla that it is profitable right now. NIO is not profitable, but I've heard some crazy good news about NIO. Is there anything special about their cars? I haven't really looked at them. Their cars actually don't look too bad. They kind of actually remind me of a Jeep Cherokee or the Volkswagen Atlas. So do they only have one vehicle, it seems? Is the ideal one the only vehicle they have? Are they just focusing on one car and that's it? If so, that's something to definitely take a look at, right? Try to understand why they only have one car right now. And are they trying to expand outside of that? So yeah, Wessler, I mean, overall, fundamentally, the company looks good. Just right now, what I do see is EV stocks have seen a huge pull up right now. So they are going to be very volatile. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see multiple down days. And we can see, right, just with Li Auto, from its all-time highs, it is actually down about 26%. So it was overly extended for some time, and then it pulled back some time. So now the stock price has been kind of quiet for the past month, it seems. Even though it's been up and down, it hasn't moved too much. Overall, it doesn't look too bad, but again, right, that's not advice, and none of this should be taken as advice. But just a quick overview, the company looks good. But if I wanted to invest in Li Auto, I would do a little more research, try to find out how they're making vehicles. Are they increasing maybe factories? What markets are they hitting? And stuff like that. But fundamentally, it does look good. MaxLinear is an American hardware company. Founded, it provides highly integrated radio frequency, analog, and mixed signal semiconductor solutions. Okay, so it's an American company. They have a market cap of $2.66 billion, so it's very, very small. I feel like I've heard of their name. Maybe I'm not too familiar with their logo, but I feel like I've heard of their name. So for the past year, they're up 73%. I want to take a look at who are some of their customers, who uses their chips right now. So let's take a look at their overview investors relations website. Maybe they might have, normally what I like to look at when first starting into a company, they usually have an investor's presentation. And here in their investor's presentation, you get to learn a lot about the company in a few minutes. So if you ever want to get familiar with the company, definitely just go Google the company and investors presentation. And they usually do one on a yearly basis. So they solve communication network bottlenecks. They're focusing on data centers. It seems like they're really focusing on data centers. That's pretty cool because I do believe data center farms are going to continue to grow. So if they're hitting that market, that's something that I would put in a green flag. Signal processing, RF and analog, okay, power. They hit all types of markets there. Their addressable market, they expect it to continue to grow. The first one is the industrial and the multi-market. So here I'm pretty sure the industrial and multi-market, they mean they're expected to see a lot of growth here in a lot of automation, right? We're kind of moving into a world where a lot of automation robots are happening. So that's where they're doing a lot of chips. This kind of looks like a Raspberry Pi to me, if I may be honest. It is a Raspberry Pi. Do they work with Raspberry Pis? Pretty cool if they do. They're doing wireless infrastructure as well. It seems like they're working with Ericsson, Nokia, Huawei. All right, so financial overview. So quarter three, they made about 156 million. In quarter three of 2019, they made 80 million. All right, I'm liking this already. That's almost 100% growth compared to the same time last year. I wonder why quarter three was such a strong quarter though. Because look, if we take a look at quarter two, it was about 65 million. And quarter one was about 62 million. So we have to understand what really drove that revenue to go up that much in quarter three. Is it a new product? Because look, in quarter four, they also expect to kind of have that $185 million of revenue. They have gross margins of 58%. That's pretty impressive, if I may say so. And they have operating margins of 19%. So the company looks financially pretty good, and I'm really liking that revenue growth in these past two quarters. But we can see in 2018 and in 2019, there was not much revenue growth happening. So why is there such a speed up going on right now? And that's something we would have to take a look at. Is it a new product that they just released? or is it just a big order that they received? Cash flow from operations are positive, which is a great thing. They're expected to grow revenue 31.8% on average for the next 3 to 5 years. That's pretty good as well. Financially, they have about $100 million in cash and about $380 million in debt. Overall, their health is, I wish they would have less debt than cash, but because they have cash flow from operations, and I just looked at it here in the presentation, they kind of just took out a new loan recently. So a new loan is not that bad as long as it has some form of long-term debt, that long-term loan. If it's due in the next 5 years, I could care less, and that's something one would have to dig up a little bit better. So I guess this is primary research and development centers in Austria, Israel, India, Germany, Singapore, and Taiwan. I wonder if this is what's bringing the significant growth right now. If so, that's actually pretty impressive. Now I want to take a quick look at ownership. It's mainly owned by institutions right now. I'm pretty surprised that BlackRock and Vanguard own so much, even though it's such a small company. Normally, when it's a small company like this, and we saw it was less than 3 billion, you don't usually see too much institutions holding. Overall, it definitely seems pretty interesting, and this is one I personally want to take a look at later on. So this is MXL. Fundamentally, they seem okay. I wish their cash would have been a little bit stronger, but that revenue growth that they've shown for this quarter and for next quarter is very impressive. All right, so the next one by Q is EFL. I feel like you might have talked about that one before, Q. Oh, so it's a battery company. These are pretty cool. These are ones that I feel might be ones I'm gonna definitely probably start looking at pretty soon. So electrovaya. So electrovaya is a Canadian company, it seems. It's a developer and manufacturer of portable lithium batteries and battery management system for automobiles, warehousing, autonomous guided vehicles, power grid, medical, and mobile service. They are in Canada. All right, so let's take a look at them. All right, so electrovaya right now. They have forklift battery systems powered by Electrovaya's lithium ceramic technology. They have energy storage system. They even sell you the cells if you want to purchase. And let's take a quick read, like I mentioned, of the company's overall presentation. But first, let's take a quick look at the stock price. In the past year, Electrovaya has done 600%. This is insane, Q. I mean, Q, I'm just going to give you my account, Q, and you can just purchase whatever you want and make all the money for me. So again, like I mentioned, right, always take a look, guys, at the presentation for investors. They show a lot of information. So how big will the battery boom try? So again, I'm not too familiar with the overall market, but one thing I do know is the battery market is definitely one that's going to continue to boom, right? Tesla mentioned it in their investors, in some of their investor meetings, that hey, we need even with all the partnerships that we have right now, there's not enough batteries out there. Oh, this is pretty cool. Electrovaya on 2020, Q, and I'm pretty sure you knew this, Q. I'm pretty sure you're just kind of flexing on us on you choosing all these great companies. Electrovaya develops high voltage electric bus battery. This is actually pretty impressive. I don't know how many other companies do that, but developing something that at that strength and able to maintain that heat, it's something that they can probably work outside and start improving into other type of vehicles as well. So in 2015 and 2018, Electrovaya acquires the largest Lianlon facility in Germany, Europe, built to supply battery for Daimler Smart electric vehicle and the European-based electrification market. Pretty smart. So they're making great acquisitions. So this is actually pretty cool. They're making some great acquisitions right now. They did pivot from e-cars in Germany in 2017 into 2019. E-lift trucks, it seems like they're moving into the e-lift trucks, work multi-shift indoors and need 10 times range over e-car and safety. E-lift truck removes 12 to 16 times greenhouse gas than one electric car. Q, this one is actually, now Q, I think I'm just going to look at all your ones you just mentioned before. This one is pretty cool. So let's take a look. This is Electrovaya. So let's take a look. Annual revenues, huge growth in revenue. Look at 2019, 2018 and 2019 were pretty flat, but 2020 was a huge growth in revenue. Pretty great news. They're now profitable in they're now profitable before taking a look at all the expenses. But again, we're seeing improvement in margins, which is pretty good as well. So they have game-changing and disruptive technology. 30 patents. They have fast charging, proprietary battery management systems, and designs allow for rapid charging. This is actually pretty cool. They composite ceramic separators which prevent battery failures at high temperature. So this is what a standard would look like, and this is what the electrovaya would look like after 130 degrees Celsius. So they have channels to market OEM. So Raymond Corporation, which is owned 100% by Toyota, is the largest electric forklift manufacturer in North America. Raymond is now distributing Electrovaya's batteries through their OEM channel, and it's the top-selling electric fork in North America. So targeting missions there, a lot of people are really focused, it seems, on e-cars, but they're really focused on e-buses, e-forklifts, warehouse, e-delivery trucks, and autonomous robotics. And that's the one I believe is probably the one people are not too excited about, but that's the one that really gets me excited, the autonomous robotics. Just because, right, these are right now I feel like pretty hype, but these are the ones that are going to be like in every single factory, everywhere, just printing work. And Danny, you're asking, where could I buy Electrovaya? So first thing I want to say, Danny, when buying companies like Electrovaya, it's a very small company. So Electrovaya, normally, Danny, with companies like this, they're very volatile. And one thing I would definitely say when buying small companies, use a limit order. A limit order are very important for companies like this. Now you're asking where to purchase them. Not sure, Danny, what broker you use. If you're using Robinhood, they might not be available there, but Fidelity will definitely have them available. So if I do decide to purchase, and this is one I want to get a little more research on, but it's one that if I would purchase, it would be through Fidelity. I don't have nothing against Robinhood. Robinhood is a great platform, but Fidelity has probably become my favorite platform right now because it allows you to trade over the counter. A lot of companies internationally, you can't trade them in the regular NASDAQ or the regular New York Stock Exchange. You have to buy them over the counter. And it sounds a little weird buying over the counter, but a lot of companies are over the counter. Tencent. But yeah, if you're getting familiar with the overall market, definitely become familiar with limit orders. Companies like this, which many consider a penny stock, if one purchases something like this, go with a limit order where you're not going to be paying crazy prices. And a company like this, for me personally, I'm not sure for Q, it would only be a very small percentage of my portfolio. Obviously, if you're a more believer of the battery market and all this, maybe you might be a little bit more bullish on that market. And this is why I enjoy doing these freaking live streams. I learned so much. So overall, okay, we understand the market Electrovaya is in. I think we're pretty much all really liking it. The only thing, like I said, since it's a very small company, it's traded over the counter, it's going to be very volatile. So this is definitely not a company that in the next 2 days, you might see a 10% drop, and the world, it's just what happens with these type of volatility stocks. So you have to be prepared when buying into companies like this that, hey, I might wake up one day and just for no reason at all, except just because of the overall volatility of the stock being such a low volume stock, it can drop 10-15%. And look, and this is something else, right? I mean, hopefully we're all learning, because I'm learning stuff about this. So when you take a look at Investors Relationships website, or the presentations, you don't only learn about that company, you learn about some of their customers. So now, for example, I learned about Raymond. Raymond is one of the largest electric forklift manufacturer in North America. This is probably a company I want to see if somehow they might be public, right? So I'm going to add Raymond to the list. But now I took a look at list. Jabil is one of the biggest world leading engineering and robotic firms. I would have never learned about this without looking at this investor presentation. So now I want to take a look if Jabil is a company that's publicly traded and one I can learn more about. So just by looking at one investor's relationships website, if you come in with an open mind, you can learn so much more about other companies. So future growth. So this is one thing, right? So I Simply Wall Street, right? It's definitely a platform that I use, a software that I use. But this is all just based on analysts. So analysts could be wrong, and sometimes there's no analyst looking at the company. And this is exactly what's happening with this company. It doesn't seem like there's many analysts looking at them. So it's telling us that the revenue growth is non-existent. But we just took a look at the market. We saw the future growth that they're expected to see, and we can see, hey, this is definitely going to be a high growth company for the upcoming years. And if we take, I want to take a look at financially health. They have $1.1 million in cash, and they have about $10 million in debt. Again, it looks pretty scary. And again, just because it looks scary doesn't mean it's bad. The only thing it means is, hey, one has to take a little closer look into it before deciding, right? I was just taking a look at NVIDIA, for example. NVIDIA has about $7 billion in debt, but about $3.5 billion of that debt is not due to 2040, 2050, 2060. So just because a company has a lot of debt doesn't mean it's necessarily a bad thing. We just have to do a little more research on it before deciding that. But it kind of definitely throws a red flag. So take care, guys. Have a good night. Make sure to check out the Discord. Definitely help out by subscribing to the channel. And whenever you see a video, it helps so much when you guys hit that thumbs up. It truly, truly helps out. So take care, guys, and see you next time.